My name is Leo Wang. I'm the Vice President of Capital Markets and Corporate Development of Canaan Inc. with the ticker CAN. Joining me today is Bradley Garrone from Value Hash. Could you introduce your firm, yourself?
My role at Value Hash is Director of Power Origination. I basically deal with the strategy around how do we develop a site from the ground up. We need to make sure we secure the land. We need to make sure we secure the power. I also deal with the day-to-day aspects of the economics of the procurement of the power. We have 3 sites all across the United States right now, a site in New York, site in Nebraska, and then also in Kansas. That's sort of like a high-level look at our business. And in particular, what does the business do? We're basically a Bitcoin mining hosting business. If you happen to be a customer that is looking for a one-stop shop to acquire miners, upgrade your miners, and not even really have to take possession of them, you can buy the miners. We put them on the racks. You sign a deal. It's designed to be as clean and as hands-off as possible.
In terms of securing land, I know a lot of people are competing against each other to get power,
Yeah.
and power is getting more and more scarce
Yes.
with competition from AI HPC, by the way.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to get more power and cheaper power from customers?
What you're really dealing with there is a system of multiple constraints. So imagine you have a checklist of, I need this, I need A, B, C, D, E, and F, right? So what do you need? You need enough land. Okay, well, there's land everywhere. You drive across the country, there's plenty of open spaces. Okay, well, now the subset is this big. Well, where can I get power? Then you have certain sub-questions that come into play then. Okay, well, you might drive down the road, you might see a substation. That substation might not have any headroom left available. All the juice might be used up in that substation. So that tends to lead to a conversation where you might have to inquire with the utility, and you might have to ask some questions. There's also different services that you can pay for to give you visibility into different substations across the United States. There's the physical portion of the power component that I just talked about, but then it's not just enough to have the megawatts. You need to have competitive pricing on those megawatts.
Exactly.
So that's a whole different conversation. And that's another part of my role, is doing that kind of research to where it's not just a matter of getting the power. Can I get the power, and is it economically competitive? And then you mentioned about AI, them buying up land, like GPU type data centers. Then you also have the fiber component. So the fiber is adding an additional constraint on top of the availability of the power and the economics of the power.
So it really depends on the application itself.
It depends on the application itself. And one thing that we're exploring with the growth in AI GPUs, we're trying to approach this from we have our core business, which is developing BTC sites for hosting and so forth. We're continuing with that trend. We're continuing with our business, but now we have an extra sort of birdie on our shoulder talking well, a new site that we develop, this might be a better fit for an AI player as opposed to Bitcoin mining, but we still do the core business. There's just an extra level of optionality that we have to contend with now.
Yeah. Wow, that's great.